Hi everyone! So for my personal growth project, I decided to bake with my grandma and make a Kentucky butter pound cake. I selected this topic because my grandma always makes treats for our family events, and Kentucky butter cake is one of my favorites of hers that she makes. I thought it'd be fitting to learn the recipe and the entire process of baking. I hope to achieve this goal and be able to pass down this family recipe one day like she did to me. My grandma was my mentor in baking this pound cake. She's a great cook all around. She can cook basically anything. I hope after baking this pound cake that we can cook more often and increase my cooking skills further than just dessert. The feedback that my grandma gave to me, she gave me positive feedback, of course, on the taste test. It tasted amazing. But she did inform me that I need to trust the process and be patient. I tried to rush through the process of making the batter, and then while the cake was baking for an hour and a half, I kept checking the cake instead of waiting on the timer she set. Probably like 20 minutes into it baking, I was already checking it, and she informed me, like, you need to quit opening the oven and checking on it. Just set a timer for an hour and a half and wait on that, and then you can check it. So that's on my first try. I was very impatient, but on my second try, I sat there, waited, and was very patient by my second time and just trusted the process like she told me. So right now I'm sifting 3 cups of flour into this bowl, and then I'll sift my other ingredients next into this bowl as well before I make the mixture. So right now I'm measuring my baking powder. Already added the baking soda. Now I'm putting a teaspoon of salt. As you can see, this sifter is very ancient. It's from my grandma's had it for many years. But it's a good sifter for cooking, as my grandma says. So you have to add 4 eggs individually, crack them in one at a time, and mix each individual egg. And then after you put your 4th egg in, I've already done 3 prior to that, you put 1 cup of buttermilk and mix that all together. So the final step is 2 teaspoons of vanilla to make it sweet, and mixing my flour and the baking soda, baking powder, and salt into the mixture, and that'll be ready to bake. So you get a bundt pan that it removes, and you take grease, put a little bit on a napkin, and grease the entire all around in the pan, and then you sprinkle flour all over the grease as well. And you preheat your oven at 350, and it cooks for about an hour and a half. So for your sauce for the cake, you put 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And a little bit of water, and you let it simmer on medium heat until it's all melted. So you poke holes all along the top of the cake, plenty of holes. I've already started poking my holes before taking the video. And you take the sauce and you just pour it all along the top of the cake. And there's your Kentucky butter cake. So through the personal growth project, I have learned about myself that I'm not the most patient person when it comes to cooking in general. My grandma repeatedly told me to be patient and trust the process and wait on the end product. I'm always the one to rather go out to dinner or order food to go rather than cook myself, and my bank account shows how much I go out to eat, which I need to stop doing that, and that's why I wanted to learn more about baking and cooking as well. After cooking the cake, I realized the amount of effort it takes, and it made me appreciate it more than just buying one from the store. I'm also more, like I said, I'm also more interested in learning different cooking skills aside from baking. In the future, I would like to use these skills to be more productive when it comes to cooking myself rather than take out food. And not just taking out, but what I would like to learn how to cook so one day I can cook a home cooked meal for my family and pass on those skills that I've learned from my grandma. I think that'd be really awesome to possess those traits that my grandma taught me and pass them on to future generations. This personal growth project has taught me that I don't always have to be a leader. I can also be a follower. I enjoyed my grandma's guidance through the entire cooking process. I think this one day will help me in my future career by being able to step back and not always be in that leadership role and let another colleague maybe take lead and actually learn from being a follower in my career, hopefully one day. Throughout this course, there's 5 topics that really struck with me, like I said, through the course and while going through the personal growth project. One was the Clifton Strengths test that we took online. One of my results was that it was actually my top result, that I was futuristic. I'm always looking for anything that can prepare me for the future, and baking is one of those things I think that could prepare me for the future, not just in baking, but cooking in general. I need to learn how to cook and provide for myself. A second topic was reflective listening. When it came to listening to my mentor, I was focused on listening to her and being reflective upon it, making sure I was understanding it correctly, asking her twice just so I could make sure that I succeeded in baking the pound cake by myself for the second attempt. The third topic would be self-awareness. I scored low in self-awareness in one of the tests because I'm more focused on other things than being self-aware. I talked about this in one of my reflections. I had a job and I stuck it out doing the job, but I was not aware of myself and my well-being. I stuck it out just because it was a paying job, not because I was happy. The fourth topic would be the Myers-Briggs assessment. I tested as an extrovert, which is true, but I feel like when it comes to cooking and baking, I am an introvert. I'm really not outgoing when it comes to cooking, but I think with time that I will improve on my skills in cooking, and I will lead to more extrovert in the cooking aspect. The last and final topic I'm going to speak about is balance and motivation. I have, now that I've cooked with my grandma, I'm trying to figure out how to balance school, work, and cook a healthy meal for myself, and also having that motivation, because we come home from work or school one day and all we want to do is just relax. We don't have to worry about cooking us food. I always tend to take the easy route and get takeout, but I'm working on my balance and motivation as we covered in Module 6. But I hope to improve on my balance and motivation and all of the topics that I touched on. Thank you.